Yeah. Subscribe to the channel. Marina looked at her son, who had just got married, with a smile. He was tall, stately, and with dark hair. Tomorrow her boy will get married. She doesn't even believe it. Ilya carefully looked at his reflection in the mirror, then nodded satisfactorily. The suit was sitting like a fly, a fashionable suit. The boy turned to his mother. The color was good, and it looked expensive. It's expensive, Marina thought, but said loudly, I'm glad you agreed. I'll definitely shed a tear at the wedding, as soon as I see you at the full parade. At the wedding? Ilya finally broke away from the mirror. Mom, are you going to the wedding? We agreed that you wouldn't be there. Agreed? Son, I thought you were joking. What jokes? Son nervously walked around the room. You forgot what parents Vika has. There will be a solid elite at the wedding. You will feel like a poor relative there. I'll start worrying about you. Mom, do you want to ruin such an important day for me? The son sat next to Marina on the couch, took his hand, and gently patted her. Mom, imagine how miserable you will look against the background of these fluffy ladies. Yes, my heart is bursting with such humiliation. Vika and I will come to you on another day, okay? We'll have tea or champagne. You will congratulate us. Give us a gift. Marina's heart was crumbling with resentment. Her own son is ashamed of her to such an extent that he is ready to look like an orphan at his own wedding. Why am I going to look ugly? Said the mother. I have signed up for a good hairdresser. I will do a manicure. I will wear a dress that is decent. What decent? Is this a blue old man? I was angry and again rushed into the room. So, he stood in front of his mother. If you don't understand well, I will tell you in direct text. I don't want to see you at the wedding. I may be a bastard, but I'm ashamed that my mother is a cleaner. I don't want you to disgrace me in front of my Vika's family with your homeless look. Is that clear? Marina, shocked by her son's confession, couldn't say a word. Ilya silently took his backpack, a suit, and headed for the exit. He stopped at the door. I repeat once again, don't come to the ceremony. Ilya left a few hours ago. Twilight came outside the window, and Marina was sitting on the couch in complete shock. She couldn't even cry from shock. Tears came a little later, when the woman turned on the light and took out an old album with family photos from the dressing room. This album contained all her senseless life. Memories fell on Marina with such power that it was difficult to breathe. Old, worn-out photo. Blue-eyed, 2-year-old girl is looking at the lens. Bright dress, obviously from someone else's shoulder. Next to her, a thin, strange woman. A scattered gaze, a stupid smile. Even in the bad photo, it can be seen that the woman is having fun. Marina was 2.5 years old when her mother lost her parental rights, and she forever disappeared from the life of her daughter. When they grew up, the girl didn't even try to look for an impenetrable mom. Why? Group photo. 10-year-old Marina with unfaithful, golden curls is standing in the second row. Third on the left. Life in the orphanage was not sugar-free. The institution in which Marina was brought up was an exact copy of the unfavorable shelters from a documentary movie shot in the late '80s. The principal encouraged the old lady. She was not at all interested in how the older guys support discipline. 3 pretty girls in the form of waitresses coquettishly pose a photographer on the porch of a restaurant with a slightly bent sign. After school, Marina did not bother too much with choosing a profession. She quickly found the waitress job in a roadside cafe with the name of the road. The owner paid a small salary, but the main income of the waiter was the tea. And the clients gave very generous tea to the pretty and clever Marina. The hour shift workers were terribly exhausted, but the girl did not grieve. Marina came to life on her own. She was given a spacious, bright room in the communal apartment. The neighbors, an elderly couple, were friendly. The Marinas were spending a little money. In addition, she suddenly discovered a talent, a skill to dress decently for a small penny. The girl bought clothes in secondhand and sewed them up, repainted them, turned the worn clothes into a fashionable thing. Summer glade in the forest. The happy, laughing Marina in a large wine case of flowers and leaves is sitting on green grass. She is hugged by a cute dark-haired guy in the same wreath. So many years have passed, and Marina's heart is still beating when she sees this picture. She has been working at a cafe near the road for about a year since she met Maxim. That summer morning in the cafe, surprisingly, there were many people. Marina was wearing a scarf with a nose while serving impatient customers. Suddenly, the girl stumbled on a flat surface and threw a glass of tomato juice at the guy sitting at the table by the window. A bright red spot slowly spread over the light shirt. Marina was terrified to talk. She immediately saw the expensive shirt. She didn't have time to come to her senses, as the owner of the cafe drew a picture of the table. Stas began to fuss around the guy and yell at the poor waitress, threatening with dismissal. But why bother? The guy smiled and pulled the keys from the car. Don't worry, I'm going to my parents' house. I have a clean t-shirt in my car. Could you bring me a backpack from the back seat? I'll bring it myself, Maxim Nikolaevich. The servant Stas took the keys from Marina. Otherwise, this chicken will break something in your car. Having remained alone with the client, the frightened girl finally was able to apologize. Excuse me. It's the first time I've ever said such a thing, and I'll pay you back for the damage. Calm down, what damage? It's nothing serious, girl. By the way, what's your name? Marina. And I'm Maxim. He stretched her hand. A quick handshake in return for the stranger. Marina dared to look at his face for the first time. Attractive guy. Tall, sporty, grayish, a little funny eyes, light, charming smile. The owner brought the backpack to the client and offered to take him to a place where he could get himself in order. Passing by Marina, Stas cruelly asked, "What are we waiting for? The shift is over." She received money from the in-love couple when she heard a cheerful voice from behind. "Marina, could you give me a minute of attention?" She turned around. Maxim, in a fresh blue t-shirt, was sitting at the same table. "Will you take the order?" While serving a nice visitor, the girl felt crumpled. Her cheeks were burning. Stas personally walked the guy to the door, then whispered to Marina, "Don't be offended. I was yelling at you on purpose. Otherwise, he would have made you pay for the shirt, and it's more expensive than your salary." "How do you know this guy?" "This is Max Skvortsov, the son of our mayor. Every dog in the city knows him." By the evening, Marina was so tired of the long-term fuss that she forgot to think about the morning accident. She had one wish, to get home as soon as possible and fall into the bed. It was already dark outside. It is not known how long the bus will have to wait. Suddenly, the cafe was under the light of the landmark. Marina reluctantly stepped back to the porch, but looking around, she recognized the car. "I wonder what the C-boy forgot here?" Maxim jumped out of the car, took a seat, a small bouquet, and headed straight to Marina. Closely approaching the amazed girl, he put flowers in her hand. "I've already finished working. Sorry, I didn't know what bouquets you like, so I went around with banal white roses. I promise that later I will only give your favorite." Then the waitress finally got confused. "Why? What do you mean, why?" "I'm looking after you. By the way, the evening is so wonderful. Maybe we should go somewhere?" Marina has already forgotten that she really wanted to sleep. Everything that was happening now seemed like a magical dream. The girl suddenly realized that she was ready to go anywhere with this guy. But fortunately, she remembered in time about her unpretentious appearance. Old jeans, a simple t-shirt, you know what's on your head? "Thank you, but I'm terribly tired." "I can't today, unfortunately," said Marina. "Then tomorrow?" Max did not back down. "Then tomorrow," the girl responded with an echo. The next day they met so as not to part ways. It was love at first sight. Maxim, a student at the Faculty of Economics, successfully handed over the summer session, and the couple began to see each other every day. In July, the guy took Marina on vacation. She did not have a foreign passport. Therefore, they spent a magical days in Sochi. Max introduced his lover to his university friends. They often went to fun companies to swim, to eat shish kebab in nature. It was the brightest, carefree, and unforgettable summer in Marina's life. She has never experienced more such unwavering happiness. The lovers have already begun to talk about the wedding, but in the fall, all the joyful plans for the future collapsed in 1 hour. Once, Max's cousin saw her brother on the street in a company of a modestly dressed stranger. From that moment on, Marina's life turned into hell. Account was categorically against the relationship of the only son with some beggar from the shelter. Max's mother, his aunt, grandmother called Marina every day. They were insulting and threatening the girl, asking her to leave their boy alone. Max's cousin came to the cafe and started a terrible scandal, throwing a high-class milk cocktail at the waitress. The old lady from the bench at the entrance told that some people were asking about Marina for an hour. Yes, there was one lady here recently, confirmed Yakov Ivanovich, a neighbor in the apartment. She offered us good money and a wife, if we confirm that you are a drug addict, a girl of easy behavior, and an alcoholic. I put this hyena out there. Marina didn't tell the groom anything, knowing that at the moment the issue of his trip abroad on a student exchange is being resolved. Apparently, the guy also felt pressure because he was under pressure. Sometimes he looked at his beloved's face with tension. But seeing her affectionate smile, he sighed easily. A week before Maxima's departure, Marina received a phone call in her apartment. "This is Nikolai Borisovich." She heard a tough male voice in the phone. "I am Maxima's father. You must say goodbye to my son before his departure. Tell him that you have another man. If you ignore my words, you will regret it." And without waiting for the answer, the mayor turned himself off. Marina was ready to give her life for Max. Could she refuse to give it to the one she loved so much? When the lover flew to London, the events that she still remembers as a nightmare began to happen around the girl at a cosmic speed. Stas, the city leader's subordinate, suddenly accused the waitress of a major miscarriage and the girl was arrested. Marina was so shocked by the mean deed of her boss that she didn't even care about reliable protection when the case was quickly transferred to court. She had no doubt that the whole truth would be revealed very soon, and these terrible accusations would be removed. The court was like a farce. The lawyer who was given the girl to the state had just not slept during the trial, but the accuser tried his best. But her friend told her that the guy was going to continue his studies in England. Marina was given 3 years. Already in prison, she found out that she was expecting a child, and the time spent in the female zone, the woman forbade herself to remember. It hurts too much. Caught in despair, she hurried to turn over the page of the family album. Dark hair and gray eyes, baby. Marina gently stroked the photo. What an affectionate and thoughtful carapace her son was. Only God knows what it was worth to raise a son alone. Marina spent 1.5 years, then went on a journey. The girl was incredibly lucky that she did not have a child, but a whole pile of problems fell on her head. No one wanted to hire a young girl with a small child besides the judge. "Thank you, neighbor Yakov Ivanovich. Through your adult student helped to adjust the card in the..." One day, she accidentally met her ex-girlfriend, and she reported that the owner of the roadside cafe, Stas, was devastated. Mayor Skvortsov moved his family to Moscow, receiving an increase, and his son married a year ago at the Capital Beauty. Marina cried all night. Then she wiped her tears and went to wash the floors in the restaurant. It was necessary to raise her son. From now on, this is her only concern and joy. It began to shine outside the window. Did Marina spend the whole night sitting on the album? She went to sleep, but the thoughts about her son did not let her sleep. She always tried so hard to please him with her expensive toy, delicious food, and fashionable new clothes. She was ready to break into the cake just to fulfill all his wishes. As much as possible, of course. If Ilya needed a new gadget, he calmly announced it to his mother. In the extreme case, it's better to wash the floors in some other institution. Of course, there is also a fault in Marina that Ilya grew up such a senseless, selfish person. She never complained about his fatigue, never took a hospital one, constantly stuffed the most delicious pieces for lunch. It is not surprising that the guy never thought about the price of the money the mother gets. And now his own son is ashamed of Marina and doesn't want a poor cleaner to be present at the wedding ceremony. She lived. Marina sighed bitterly, and then turned to the portrait of Ilya hanging on the wall. "Son, I've been waiting for you for years, but this time I will do as I please. I'm sorry." The woman got up from her bed and pulled out a box from the chest, in which she kept her savings from the old days. Plus, there's a monthly salary on the card. A hair and a hairstylist will be enough for her outfit. Marina's appearance in the registry office created a real furor. She always looked young, and after the visit to the beauty salon, she looked like she had dropped her hair for decades. The guests of the man briefly looked at the light-haired woman in a luxurious blue dress. During the ceremony, the mother, wiping her tears, looked at the serious, slightly confused son and his charming bride. How good it is that she came here. Then all the guests greeted the newlyweds, and Ileana unnoticedly walked through the crowd to his mother and whispered, "So my request means nothing to you? I hope you won't drag yourself into the restaurant." "I won't drag myself." Marina nodded. "I've already seen everything I wanted. Hello." A rosy face from happiness of the century jumped up to them. "Marina Anatolyevna, you look amazing. Parents invite you to go to the restaurant with them." "Thank you, but I have to go." "What do you mean, you have to go?" Vika was outraged. "Ilya, what's going on?" "Really, Mom, where are you rushing? Your only son is getting married, after all." With a long smile, Ilya invited his mother to the restaurant. When it was time for parents to congratulate the newlyweds, Marina took the microphone. "Children, be happy and love each other all your life." Marina's short speech had so much sincerity that the guests made her an ovation. Going down the small stage, the woman barely ran into a tall man in an expensive suit. His face seemed familiar. "It can't be," Maxim said, blocking her way. "Marishka, is that really you? What are you doing here, Maxim?" Marina didn't believe her eyes. "Father of the bride, my business partner. Here, I invited you to the wedding. What a nice son you have." Maxim, worried, took Marina by the hand. "Maybe we'll go to the window and talk." "Are you alone? Without a wife?" "I have been divorced for years, no children." They talked for an hour. Maxim told how the father, who flew to him abroad, reported that Marina met another guy and left with him to Moscow. Shocked, Max did not believe his father. Afraid of humiliating his beloved with offensive suspicions, he first decided to find out the truth from his best friend. The friend went to a roadside cafe, but did not find a girl there. The owner and waitress in one voice confirmed the information received from his father. "I was a little crazy then. I was sad. I stayed in England for another half a year, and from there I returned to Moscow. Was I happy all these years? Not a minute. Only in my youth. With you. Well, how did you live all this time?" "Let's not be sad," Marina suggested. "After all, it's a wedding. I'll tell you everything later. And now, invite me to dance." The guests couldn't take their eyes off the mature, beautiful couple circling in the waltz. Ilya looked at his mother and didn't recognize her. He suddenly thought that his mother, a very attractive woman, a very young woman, gave up her personal life for her son. For him, Ilya was really ashamed for the first time in his life. Then the guy noticed that his mother was going out with some rich guy. Ilya caught up with her already on the porch. "Mom, where are you going?" "I'm leaving. You wanted this so much, right?" Mom reminded me. "Mom, I'm sorry, but where are you going with this guy?" "With this man, I am ready to go to the end of the world," Marina sincerely admitted. "By the way, meet your father." Maxim and Ilya looked at Marina with delight. After a little silence, she decisively shook her head and smiled. "I think the three of us will have a very long and difficult conversation." Press the bell when subscribing. All the best to you.